They grew up together. They played the same sports, went to the same schools, and now they even teach together. You're listening to DC and DH on the D&D Dynamite 80s. Let's start another one right now. DH, take it away, my friend.
Another episode of D&D Dynamite 80s. I'm
Can't
DH.
hear you one bit, man.
Can't hear me at all? How about now? There we
I
go.
can hear you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of D&D Dynamite 80s. I'm DH with a little technical issue there.
That's all right, brother. I'm DC, by the way.
DC, how's your week going, brother?
Man, it's fast and furious, but we're about to be on fall breaks. It's all good.
Telling you, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Got an exciting guest tonight. We're going to
Absolutely.
We're not even going to do any of this prelogue we normally do, so I'm going to just
Mhm.
shoot it right over to you and let you go ahead and make the introduction.
Sure.
Get this one rolling.
Okay. All right. We're pleased to have Jillian Lauren with us, author, investigative reporter, wife, and probably most important, a mom. So she is her husband is Scott Schreiner, the bassist for Weezer. By the way.
Weezer. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So we're
Check out their new album, Autumn, from their
right.
They have a new series of amazing albums, seasonal
Yes.
albums that are coming out. Please, check
Yes,
them
one of my
out.
all-time favorite groups.
And we've got great T-shirts right now.
There you go.
Cool.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. We will definitely check that out. Jillian, how are you?
Maybe I'll send you one just for fun.
All right.
I see you guys like hats, so
Well, yeah,
get
Yeah,
some Weezer hats.
absolutely.
Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
doing well. I'm doing well. You see,
You
Like-
were telling us. Pretty warm where you're at, huh?
I think it's 103 today.
Oh my gosh. No thanks.
Yeah, we won't.
I know,
We
we-
were in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take what we got, right, DA?
Yeah.
I know. National Fall's beautiful, but in summer it can be very, very sticky.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're the king of humidity.
Yes.
Uh,
I do remember dancing there at a bar. It was called B some number, the B something bar. I don't know. That's where I learned how to two-step.
Okay. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
Small world.
Julian, I would like to start out with something.
Yes.
I was reading that several of your works that you've authored are actually becoming like syndicated, like movies, shows, that type deal, and all of that starting to roll over. And I was just wondering, as an author, that's got to be number one gratifying. But how much more work does that cause for you? Are you actually involved in like? Because I know sometimes people say when they make a movie out of it, they kind of take, special considerations or whatever and make some alterations. How does that work? I've always wondered that.
Well, I think every adaptation or every way you tell a story, like every medium through which you tell a story, that story is going to change a little bit. For instance, I did a live 15-minute story that I told on stage that was based on my first memoir that I did for a storytelling show called The Moth. And I mean, that 15-minute story was the same story essentially as a 350-page memoir, but it just collapsed and expanded. And so it's really going to depend on what sort of angle you're looking at things from. And I think what's exciting right now in the true crime world is that people are starting to look at crime, particularly sexually motivated serial murder, which is, by its very nature, fascinating because everyone feels the need to apologize for it. Like, so sorry, but like, I like to watch true crime. I'm like, really? You do? You must be a bad person. Like, I don't find a need for apologism. I think, we have an innate curiosity for the very edges of what we're capable of.
Yeah.
Both personally and like as humans.
Yeah.
And that's what these monsters, these serial killers, really, that's the question they really challenge us with, is like, not like where our edge is, but like where their edge is. Like, is that the edge of where we stop being human anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It,
So those are the interesting questions to me.
sure. Well, I'll get to the series or the
Yeah,
episodes.
so
Yeah.
you always mess around with it, right?
Yeah.
Because life, if you were to tell me about your day, I bet something really cool happened. Maybe something really funny. Maybe you
Yeah.
talked to a journalist in Los Angeles who got a serial killer to confess.
Yeah.
That's a wacky thing to tell your friends tonight.
Right. Right.
But if you were to tell me your day from the minute you woke up, I'd be asleep on the floor.
Right. Right.
So any storytelling process is like that.
Gotcha.
So they're like, you didn't, what did somebody fact check me? I almost smacked him in the nose. I said it was 110 degrees in the shade in Lancaster that day. It actually wasn't. That summer, temperatures in Lancaster never reached beyond 109 degrees.
You gotta love good
And
Right.
I was just like, suck my poetic license. Because
Right.
109 degrees in the shade
Instead
sound
of
like
110.
shit. So
Oh
any
man.
storytelling
Yeah.
process is like that. And you
Yeah.
have to understand that when you're watching these shows.
And
There's
Right.
always an angle, there's always someone has an agenda, somebody has a perspective, somebody's telling the story. Now, I think what's happening that's interesting, like I was saying, is that we're starting to see different perspectives and not just this, also valid fascination with these killers, with these monsters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to get to the one that you focused in on in
I
just a
know I'm
second.
like I'm
Yeah.
already with my
I
all
got
four
you.
eight. I got all
Yeah.
my 480s. I was just like,
Right.
I got 780s here in Los Angeles alone.
Oh wow.
Seven
Wow.
active serial
Yeah.
killers
Oh my gosh.
in Los
Yeah.
Angeles alone in the
Yep.
80s, and we can talk about the 80s and why that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer,
Mm-hmm.
49 victims. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, 15 victims. The one that stuck out to me was at least one was a child. Jeffrey Dahmer, 17 victims. And of course, that was some cannibalism was unique with him. But this Sam Little, I seen the episodes that Stars put out that you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got me interested in trying to contact you. It was fabulous, by the way, that
Thank you
series.
so much.
Um,
Thank you.
this Sam Little, wow, 93 is what. Now you obviously you're an expert with him. 93 confessed victims. Were there more? You think?
No. There have been six. Sorry, kick my desk around.
That's all
There have
right.
been over 60 confirmed. Over
Mhm.
60 confirmed at this point. So in Ridgway's case, it was 49 confirmed. He also probably had more.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're good.
And now I'm sorry, I lost my earphone and I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
Did Sam Little? Do you think killed a lot more or
Oh,
more people
more. Did he kill more? No, I
than he
don't.
admitted?
This is what I think.
Okay.
No, I think he absolutely gave up everything.
Wow. Okay.
In all earnestness.
Hmm.
I mean, while messing with people,
Yeah.
just to keep him around to play with them. I mean, he had detectives coming in to interview him from all over the country. It was a circus.
Yeah.
They come in from Kentucky with ribs. They'd come in from Florida with oranges. And they'd be like, tell us about, who was the fattest bitch you ever killed? And who was that,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And he was just having the time of his life.
Yeah.
And so he was in all earnestness trying to help. I do believe that. He was playing around a little bit. If he didn't like the detective or didn't or just got a bad read off them,
Mm-hmm.
like he was very intuitive, then he would just totally fuck with them. And Texas Ranger James Holland, who knew him very well, who was watching the interviews, would just be like, "Out, it's over."
Right.
Right. And Jim would say the detectives went in there. I mean, you could sit there all day long and ask if he feels bad and he has remorse. But like those aren't the questions that are going to get you the answers.
Yeah.
That are going to help you find these victims.
Right.
And also you're going to bore the shit out of him because he has no idea what you're saying.
I've always wondered, and with your research, you hear different kind of aspects and philosophies on why serial killers act and do things they do.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ones I found interesting when I was doing a little research was the perception of a godlike complex for the serial killer. Can you kind of speak on that just a little bit?
Absolutely. And Sam certainly saw himself as an agent of God, or sanctioned by God, or certainly, at the very least, forgiven the minute he murdered because he asked to be. And in his belief system, like, forgive me if I get my saint wrong, please, but was it Saint Peter who fell to the yes. From the stirrup to the ground. That's Sam's whole thing. Like his last confession was going to save him before he hit the ground. And I heard him say some really disgusting things. And I got a pretty strong stomach for that, and that tends to get my back up, and then I'll start moving in on you if you're, going to start mocking women as they're dying and things like that. But there was a way that I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. Like, all his empathy was for himself. He felt so bad for himself that God had made him this way. But if God had made him this way, God is perfect, right? So it wasn't a God complex per se. He didn't think he was Christ. But he believed, and excuse me for taking a moment to just sort of formulate a thought about this, because it's a tough one, because it takes a whole lot of mental tap dancing to do this one.
Sure.
Really pretty amazing. But like I said, I heard him say so many disgusting things. And I think probably the worst thing I ever heard him say, that I really wanted to jump across that table and I could have taken his eyes out myself. Like, you sit there and smile and get what you need to get as a journalist, as an investigator, as a cop. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not there for me. I'm not there to make Sam Little understand that hurting women is a bad thing. But what he said was, I said, so do you feel that in the moment between the stirrup and the ground, your victims had a chance to ask for forgiveness? Like, they weren't prepared for that. And he was like, well, I don't know, that's between them and God. And I said, well, do you think that they should forgive you? And he said, well, I would hate to see where they're going if they don't. And I was like, when you talk about a God complex, I mean, the way they would describe it in the DSM-4, which is, the sort of gold standard, though it changes all the time. And the way that we describe these things changes. It's always shorthand. And there are no hard and fast rules. Serial killer is a word that got made up in the 70s at the BSU and the FBI. Just mean killed more than 3 people.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But now it's such a cultural icon, it feels like it's been around forever. So I think that these words change a lot, but right now, it's called the dark triad, right? And in terms of personality disorders, it's Machiavellianism, antisocial personality disorder, which are the psychopaths we all know and love from our favorite movies, and Machiavellian narcissism. There's a sneaky little fourth one that there's a brilliant professor in Canada working on right now called everyday sadism. And it is sort of looking at that kind of cruelty and selfishness. And because when you say God complex, I mean narcissism, Machiavellian, that's like power. That's like a power hungry.
Yeah.
Everything is a power grab. Narcissism is really like not the Kardashians, not that kind of narcissism, not like 800 selfies. Narcissism, like my viewpoint is the only viewpoint in the whole world. And then there's the mother of them all, the sociopath, the psychopath, ASPD. But this idea of everyday sadism is that there's a spectrum of this in all of this. Just like there's a spectrum of anxiety, there's a spectrum of depression, there's a spectrum of cruelty.
If you really think about it, that's kind of a scary thought.
Yeah.
And I think that may be one of the reasons why people are so fascinated is because it kind of touches on that, and it's like, could we all really be capable of this?
I think it's a really important question. And, and it's certainly one when I was in the weeds with this that I, spent a lot of time kind of driving my husband crazy because who wants to hear about this shit? Who wants their wife to come home on a Sunday night from the prison, the men's maximum security prison, and be like, Sister Veronica wasn't well today. I feel really concerned, And I wonder that I'm really worried that Everett got shanked. I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. But that I don't remember what my point was about that. But I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted today.
That's okay.
I'm not sure why. But I think what we're talking about is these little parts that are monstrous in us. The parts that are selfish, the parts that are cruel. Like this everyday sadism, they did a test. His name is Dr. Del Paulis. And so they did a test where they told people, we're testing you for different kinds of jobs. What kind of job would you be good for? So if you had a choice between, so here are these 3 cockroaches. They're in these little cups, and there's like a big giant coffee grinder right there, like really dramatic. Looks like a slot machine. Okay, no bugs were harmed. Dropped the bugs through. But they tried to anthropomorphize these bugs by giving them cute little names. They called them Muffin, Tootsie, and Ike. And you could choose to grind the bugs, be a helper of somebody else who ground the bugs. You could say, you pull the trigger. I'm just gonna stand here and say, do it. You could go clean toilets, or you could submerge your hands in ice water for a minute. What would your choice be?
On that,
I'll be honest with you. I probably helped grind them up.
I would probably just go clean the toilet because I've done that many times. But I mean,
Yeah.
I went ice
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting
I
perspective.
probably go bugs before toilets.
Yeah,
ain't
well,
no way.
But
that's where
I went ice water.
yeah,
But
that's where I was going too. Yeah.
But I'm thinking of
my
Mary
husband
with
chose
her
bugs.
arthritis.
Yeah,
My
because
husband chose bugs.
the
A
toilet
lot of
or the
people
bug.
choose
Yeah.
bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people choose
Yeah.
bugs. I mean, like,
Okay.
you know, many people you love
Yeah.
choose bugs. You chose bugs,
Isn't that
right?
something? Yeah.
But that does put you on the spectrum of, having sort of making a more sadistic choice.
Hmm.
Like,
Now,
you
if
did
you would,
choose to kill something else
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than
Right.
to endure something yourself.
now if you would have told me that
And
you were
now I
putting
hate
in the toilet,
roaches,
Right.
I would
you
have went
know.
bugs.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like an experiment and you're not allowed to like traumatize humans for the rest of their lives. You can't be
Right.
like, it's a kitten. Yeah,
Right. Right.
Do you want to strangle the kitten? But it did say a lot. And it
Yeah.
was really funny because the day I talked to that guy, I had to go to an event with my husband. So sometimes my work feels incredibly surreal. And I know this, I don't know what, like what you guys get up to during the day or what, but I know that we all have like many parts of our lives. I see you have these beautiful guitars behind you. My husband would love to discuss with you. There's so many facets
Yeah.
of all of us.
Sure.
And
I think another thing too, when you're talking about facets like that, I think as we progress in age, those change some.
they
Sure.
definitely do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. And they do for serial killers as well.
That's kind of what I was
They
getting
do with
at.
hormones, but there are all these facets, and I think we tend to say like someone like BTK or someone like Sam Little who can
Mm-hmm.
just really, like, the pleasure he gets in murdering is, the most disturbing thing I've seen in my life.
Sure.
I mean, just hearing him talk about it over and over again and watching, just watching the utter disregard for human life is like a terrifying aspect to see.
Yeah.
And somebody, it makes you go like, like, who's worth anything?
Right.
Right? Like, what defines a person's worth?
Yeah.
And so yeah,
That's kind of the thing that I think part of it, we hear so much about violence and things like this on the news, like the first 20 minutes of any newscast. This is
Yeah.
what it's filled with.
violence and
I just
silence.
wonder how much society has become numb to this
Yeah.
type of issue.
Well, I know that violence is bonkers off the walls in LA right now, and I do think that we've lost our compass a little bit. And this thing I'm saying about serial killers, where it's very easy for us to say these people did this horrible thing, and certainly I don't bludgeon co-eds to death in their sleep, therefore I'm a good person. That's a bad person. I'm a good person.
Right.
And I think that violence, and just such casual violence,
Right.
I honestly don't even know that I have a take on it yet. It just is. I'm still sort of like absorbing this new world. I know that things in LA were locked down for much longer than they were in Nashville, and so we sort of like reemerged into this like world where like manners
Yes.
were
It's like
so gone.
Sure.
And and violence seemed so casual. Like, and my husband's like, you know, he's a very gentle man, but don't piss him off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
just, I mean, like you have to work hard to do it, but really
Yeah.
don't,
To get there.
you know, and there's just
Yeah.
the one gas station I'm like, you can't go to. You just can't go there. Every single
Right.
time you step out of your car, someone starts a fight with you there.
Yep.
And it seems crazy. We live in a sweet little neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's really important to look at how we
Sure.
define what's monstrous, you know, like, and what is, you know, what's criminal?
Yeah.
What's cruel? Is it cruel to rob people? Is it cruel to take advantage of the vulnerable? Is it, you know, and you know, we're gonna have to like keep
Yeah.
asking ourselves
Yeah.
those questions, hopefully, as we evolve and as DNA science evolves
Sure.
and allows us to go back and look at these cold cases, particularly in, you know, marginalized communities where women were often, you know, referred to as not even human, no humans involved,
Yeah.
or just no ones, you know.
It's just unbelievable.
You
Yeah.
know, dead prostitute in a dumpster. You know, there were 2 of them every morning in LA in 1987, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully, like, DNA is partially an equalizer, and then that we're coming around. I would like to think. Sometimes I don't know,
Sure.
but at least grappling with, you know, a
Yeah.
world we want our daughters to be safer in.
Sure. Sure. Jillian, we appreciate your time. The book is
Behold the Monster.
Yeah, it's coming out, I believe, April 2023.
April 23rd.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it seems a long way away, but I'll be doing a lot of publicity
Okay.
at TikTok, Jillian
Yeah.
Lauren author, where I'm
Yep.
doing a lot of outreach around missing persons and around cold cases. So
Fantastic.
if you love cold cases, if you love true crime,
Love them.
if you're a little bit irreverent and can
Yeah.
can deal with a
Yeah.
mouthy lady who gets really mad at injustice, come and
I can't wait.
check out
Awesome.
my stuff.
I
Can't wait.
for it to come out, and
Can't-
we'll definitely be hyping that up on all our
Absolutely.
social media.
We'll run that stuff for you as well.
All right.
Can you hold tight there as we kind of wrap it out?
Sure.
All right. We would like to thank our sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, better known and operated. Also, the Nesting Project of Smyrna, Tennessee. We appreciate all their support. Check them out online. All right, DH, my friend. Let's get ready for another school day tomorrow. How about it, brother?
Yeah, definitely. Folks, remember as we sign off here, it doesn't cost anything extra to be kind, so always.
You got that right, brother.
Till the next time, folks, keep rocking it out.
Jillian, thank you so much. Jillian Lauren, once again, guys, get that book. Check her out online and all that good stuff. And best to you and your family.
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yes,
for joining
ma'am.
us, Jillian. Everyone, make sure you get the book.
Yep.
Buy 2 copies. Make sure.
See copies and definitely check out all the socials now
Yes.
because we've got a lot of good teasers.
Good deal.
Oh, and there's a documentary confronting
Yep.
a serial killer, and it's streaming everywhere now.
Yes, it
Hulu,
is.
HBO, everywhere.
Yep.
Yes.
It's good stuff. You need to catch it.
All right.
It's fabulous.
Till next time.
All right.
Thank you so much for your support.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.